How's it going, Vandals? I'm Johnny Alpha, and I'd like to welcome you back to Graphic Vandalism. And yeah, it's new video time. This video is DC Confidential, a look at 5 books from DC Comics that I completely love but find utterly underrated. These are actually some of my favorite comics DC has ever put out. Just a fair warning though, there will be a lot of weird comics on this list. But hey, it's me, and weird comics are kind of my thing. But more than that, I personally find these books to be some of the most imaginative and creative books from this label, and I find it beyond tragic that they are so overlooked. So, I hope to bring some love to them. And with that, Vandals, let's just get into it. Okay, and first up, we have Zombie, written by John Rossum, with incredible, vivid, and lush art by the always epic Fraser Irving. And oh my gosh, Vandals, this book is so darn insane, but in all the best ways possible. It's just a wild, semi surreal, metaphysical, pseudo religious, monster mashing trip that has some of the most hilarious laugh out loud moments out of nowhere that I've ever ran into in a comic. And the story for this one is the wild adventures of David Kim, a scientist who, during a lab accident, becomes an immortal that is virtually indestructible through the use of nanites. And after this, he becomes an interdimensional monster fighter with his super awesome teammates and side characters. They fight what's on the other side, and man, oh man, is it glorious. And Fraser Irving's art here just shines and really helps make this the magnificent odd journey that it is. Just imagine Hellblazer mixed with the Invisibles with a touch of Doctor Who thrown in, and you'll have a great idea of what to expect from Zombie. I'm so bummed out it was only 6 issues, but it's honestly 6 issues of amazing. Right on. And next, let's check out Dial H, written by China Mayville with wonderful and stellar art by Mateus Santoluco. And first off, I just have to say I've loved every incarnation of Dial H for Hero all the way back to the Silver Age version. But I'm using the new 52 run here because I actually just love this creative team's take on the Dial and all the just insanely creative heroes they come up with. I mean, they were all just so crazy and fun. I particularly think Boy Chimney is one of the greatest things in any hero comic ever. And the story for this one is all about the mysterious dial that if you dial the numbers for the letters hero, it transforms the dialer into a random superhero from another universe. And it sometimes doesn't turn out so good for either party involved, but that's what I love about this comic so much. The balance between the humor and the drama, it's very well played. I honestly think this series would sell a lot better as a Vertigo book, but on the real, Dial H for Hero is a true gem in the DC Comics catalog. All right, and how about now we hop on over to I, Vampire, written by Joshua Hale Felkov, with dark, moody, and beautiful art by Andrea Sorrentino. And I have to say, when the new 52 launch happened, I didn't think in a million years my favorite comic from it would be about vampires. But on the real, this book just goes for broke and tells a wonderful and tragic love story with epic side characters and amazing cameos from other heroes like Constantine. He plays a big part in this, and it's a perfect fit for him. But more than that, I just utterly love the main arch villainish character, Mary Queen of Blood. She is just so badass. And the story for this one is all about an ageless vampire named Andrew Bennett, who accidentally unleashed a vampire plague on the world when he decided to share his undead life with his lover Mary. And with time and an army of vampires against him, he has to try and undo Mary's chaos. And it's just so good. There's a really awesome jaw-dropping role reversal midway through this book that just gives this comic one of the most interesting and moving third acts I've ever seen in a mainstream horror comic. On the real, just check this book out, yo. Cool, cool. And next up is Chase, written by Dan Curtis Johnson with unbelievably stunning art by the one and only J.H. Williams. And Chase is the kind of comic I just go nuts over. I just love a DC comic that is actually all about DC Comics. And through an awesome use of humor and drama, this comic really helps shine a light on some of the crazy secrets the DC Universe has to offer. And the story for this one is all about the intrepid Miss Cameron Chase and all the odd cases she goes on as a member of the Department of Extranormal Operations. She has to find new metahumans and determine if they're a threat or not. And it's kind of rough at first, as Chase is kind of a bigot against metahumans, but all this changes when she becomes one. And Wow. As short of a run as this book has, she seems to work a lot of cases with so many big as hell DC heroes, and she has some stellar villains of her own, like the supervillain team Failure in Vanity. It's just a total blast. Plus, I love her sister in this book. She is a total superhero fangirl and a perfect opposite to Cameron. If you haven't read this book before, I very highly recommend it. And last, but surely not least, we have Simon Dark, written by the underrated god of horror comics, Steve Niles, with just gorgeous flowing art by Scott Hampton. And I still remember running into the first issue of this at my LCS back in the day. Steve Niles doing a DC horror hero comic? I was over the moon, and he did not let me down. Niles and Hampton weave together a fun mix-up of the Frankenstein monster with some hardcore Charles Dickens orphan story style overtones that just makes Simon Dark one of the most wonderful and dark emotional hero stories of all time. And the story for this one is all about Simon Dark, the protector of a Gotham City slum called The Village. And what starts out as him trying to do the right thing turns his neighborhood into an occult war zone. But Simon has friends and he earns the right to be a true hero. And I can't tell you how much I'd love to see this hero again. I mean, he's a perfect fit for Justice League Dark, but yeah, DC Comics rarely end up as loved by me as much as Simon Dark is. You can get the trades really cheap online, so do yourself a favor and read this comic. And there you have it, Vandals. DC Confidential. And I have to admit, I had a total blast making this one. Please let me know what are some of your favorite underrated DC comics in the comments down below, because I love recommendations. But for now, until next time, this is Johnny Alpha from Graphic Vandalism saying don't stop reading.